Back in August, we reviewed the Realme 13 Pro and Pro Plus 5G, with price tags going up to almost 26,000 pesos. Fast forward to today, and Realme adds some of their little siblings to the 13 series, the Realme 13 5G and the Realme 13 Plus 5G. These new smartphones from Realme are also the successors of the Realme 12 and 12 Plus 5G that came out in March earlier this year. In this video, we are taking a deep dive into the Realme 13 Plus 5G and how it handles daily tasks. Could this be your next daily driver? Let's find out. Starting off with design. Our Realme 13 Plus 5G unit comes in the dark purple colorway. It's also available in a Victory Gold, if I'm not mistaken. It features a polycarbonate back panel that gets somewhat of a marble or camo-like pattern, depending on who you're talking to, at the lower portion of the rear, with some Realme branding on top. Hard to miss, protruding from the upper back is the circular camera island that houses what seems to be a triple camera setup along with the flash. I say seemingly because, spoilers, it isn't one. More on that later. What's interesting here is the island is actually deceivingly oblong shaped when we exclude the base that actually makes the circle. Of course, Realme did this to show off the 13 Plus 5G's main camera sensor specs at the sides. Although the unit comes with the usual rubber case in the box, it does feature an IP65 certification for protection against dust-sized particles and splashes of water. For buttons and ports, found on the right side are the volume rocker and power button. The left side is clean, but found at the bottom is a hybrid dual nano SIM card slot, a noise-canceling mic for calls, a USB Type-C port for wired charging and data transfers, and lastly, 1 out of 2 stereo speakers. Up top, amazingly, it sports a 3.5mm audio jack. Kudos, Realme. And the second speaker that makes stereo output possible, followed by another microphone for loudspeaker or video calls. Interestingly, we can't tell where the speaker at the top is actually pointed to, whether it's pointed up or side, depending on how you're looking at it, because either the grill up top or the slim call earpiece found at the top bezel of the display acts as a pass-through for each other in terms of audio output. And lastly, we get an in-display selfie camera of the punch hole variety here in front. Overall, for design and construction, we like it. The actual frame and rear panel of the Realme 13 Plus may still be made out of polycarbonate materials, but it truly feels like a solid brick when in hand. And the flat side design is nice, or is a nice touch, giving it an industrial feel. And button ergonomics feel great. Personally, I'd want Realme to swap out the SIM card tray and 3.5mm audio jack placements with each other, because when putting my phone in my pocket, I like it top first, but that's just a minor nitpick at the end of the day. For display, the phone sports a 6.67-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED panel that features a 120Hz refresh rate. The panel also gets a peak brightness of 2000 nits, and with Realme's O1 Ultra Vision engine, we can even set it to automatically adjust its brightness when streaming or watching HDR content, which is pretty sick. This also means users utilizing the panel while out and about in the hot sun shouldn't have any issues. When it comes to watching videos or playing games, this panel does not disappoint. Paired up with high-res dual stereo speakers that can get very loud at high volumes, but lead to some distortion, but also packs in a lot of clarity for highs. It actually caught us off guard at first, especially with how thin the phone actually is. Nevertheless, we didn't really need to turn the volume all the way up in general use. But hey, don't let us stop you from rocking out in your bedroom at max volume or cozying up with some ice cream in bed watching your favorite K-dramas for absolute immersion. For biometrics, the Realme 13 Plus 5G gets an optical in-display fingerprint scanner that works pretty quick. It's not the fastest at recognition, but it is accurate. Face Unlock is also available on this device, and it works like a charm. The Realme 13 Plus 5G detects faces in almost an instant when raised up. But I think it just isn't as secure, but if you're not me, who cares? Moving over to optics. So yes, although it looks like we have a triple camera setup here at the rear, the Realme 13 Plus 5G actually only features two sensors. A 50 megapixel main camera with optical image stabilization and an aperture that can open up to f1.8. The second sensor is an auxiliary one, a 2 megapixel depth sensor. In front is a 16 megapixel selfie camera that doesn't do too bad in low light. Although this is the category where we think the Realme 13 Plus 5G could have done better. But hey, considering product segmentation and all, there are still pro models in the same series. Checking out some sample shots, color reproduction can seem a bit more saturated compared to real life, but it isn't as overly saturated as Realme models from 3 years ago. The images the Realme 13 Plus 5G produces also come out with high contrast, which you may or may not like. It is a preference. And we have noticed some lack in detail here and there when it comes to some textures in our sample shots. This may be a turnoff for those looking for these kind of aspects in their mobile photography. Still, we have to give credit where it's due, as the singular main sensor is able to reproduce pretty clear and sharp photos in general that we deem very usable for generally mixed use cases. For video, it can record up to 4K at 30 frames per second. The OIS comes in clutch here, as the stabilization of the device provides a result where the video isn't as wobbly compared to the 12 Plus 5G. And although details can still feel a little lacking at night, the Realme 13 Plus 5G is able to take decent night shots despite not having that much ambient lighting at times. In general, as long as it has something to focus on, the camera will do its best to capture it. For software, the Realme 13 Plus 5G comes with Realme UI 5.0 based on Android 14 out of the box. It has a lot of bloatware, and you get a notification of an ad every now and then, which can be a bit annoying. A notable feature that the smartphone has is riding mode, which is a function that allows users to access necessary functions while driving or in transit. Apps like Google Maps, Music, and Google Dialer fall under this. We also have air gestures, where the phone's AI can detect a hand gesture that we made while using the selfie camera. We can perform actions like swiping up and down, and the AI will detect our hand and our palm from up to 40 centimeters. Then there's Rainwater Smart Touch, which allows users to use the display even with some droplets of water on screen. This means it can register swipes and taps despite having wet hands. And moving over to performance, the Realme 13 Plus 5G sports a MediaTek Dimensity 7300 Energy, a 4nm chipset that features an ARM Mali G615 GPU. To get more into detail, the processor found in this phone was released on May 30 of this year. It's got 4 ARM Cortex A78 cores and 4 ARM Cortex A55 cores with CPU speeds that go up to 2.5 GHz. Our unit came with 12 GB of LPDDR4X memory and 256 GB of UFS 3.1 internal storage. And if that RAM configuration isn't enough, for some reason, we can get an additional 14 GB of RAM through dynamic RAM expansion, giving us a total of 26 GB of memory. The Realme 13 Plus 5G is one of the first smartphones to get an S-level grade in TÜV SÜD lag-free certification. This means that it's been certified for its great responsiveness and lag-free operation for average and minimum frame rates when gaming. We played a lot of Zenless Zone Zero or Triple Z on the Realme 13 Plus 5G, set to high graphics settings and running at 60 frames per second. And it didn't even stutter once, delivering buttery smooth gameplay. Although it is worth mentioning that we still did notice some lag here and there when it came to more graphic-intensive titles like Wuthering Waves, but no major complaints here for the most part. And normal productivity tasks were also a non-issue. So for those of you interested in checking out some of our benchmark scores, here they are. Lastly, battery. The Realme 13 Plus 5G packs a 5,000 mAh battery with support for 80 watts of fast charging via USB Type-C. From our experience, it takes the Realme 13 Plus 5G about 45 minutes to charge up from 0% to 100%. With heavy use, it lasted us a whole day where we took photos, browsed the web, watched videos, and played games all throughout the day, which then begged us to question how long does it really last. So in our proprietary video loop test, the Realme 13 Plus 5G lasted 24 hours and 31 minutes. And in our PC Markwork 3.0 battery test, it garnered 17 hours and 23 minutes. These are pretty good results in general, which is why it's easy to infer that the Realme 13 Plus 5G delivers great battery life. Alright, so with all that said, it begs the question, how much is the Realme 13 Plus 5G here in the Philippines? Unfortunately, at the time this video was recorded, we do not have the official pricing of the Realme 13 Plus 5G just yet. But using the Realme 13 Pro model's price jumps as reference, if the Realme 12 Plus from earlier this year was going for 17,999 pesos, our guess for the Realme 13 Plus's price would be 20,000 pesos. Either way, we'll have the official SRP for the Realme 13 Plus 5G pinned in the comments section of this video once it's published. Overall, we think the Realme 13 Plus 5G isn't a bad choice for a new daily driver. And it's also a pretty solid partner when it comes to gaming. Not only will it give users a smooth experience, but with its battery life and charging speed, we can be sure to get back in the fray pretty quick. But if you're someone looking for a phone with more photo and video-centric capabilities, there are other options available that may suit your needs better. But what did you guys think of the Realme 13 Plus 5G? Cop or drop? Let us know in the comments section. And if you enjoyed this video or found it educational or informative, be sure to smack that like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hit that bell icon so you get notified of our future uploads. Be sure to visit yugatech.com and follow us on all our social media platforms, which are Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok, for the latest tech news and reviews. Once again, this has been the Realme 13 Plus 5G, and this has been Miguel, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.